Welcome to episode 4 of SSB, Cruise Light Samurai Elite Heat B. 6 more robots, one of them will fight Wrong Note in the final at the end of this episode. So let's get into it with the first of this week's Rumbles. Built by Small Rose, Chophouse Chef. Built by KJ, Redline 5.5. Built by Lily, Schweinehund 2. And in the first fight we have a judge's decision. Schweinehund KO'd, but we have to find the winner between Chophouse and Redline. Chophouse takes the win 10-5. And in our next rumble, the only extender bot in this weight class of Samurai Elite joins in on a rematch of what, in my opinion, is the most impressive debut we've seen in Sakura Sunrise. Built by Sound FM 52, Smog. Built by Nikki Dusty Owl, Microburst. Built by the Roboteer, Apogee 3. Apogee clears the arena and goes through to the quarterfinals with 2 Utas. Meanwhile, Smog goes tumbling out of the arena back into it with our first redemption fight this week as it fights Schweinehund. Judges' decision again. And this one is a 9-6 win for Schweinehund. And next up, Microburst fights Redline.
Genki.
Microburst gets burst by Redline, as once again, it's 2 robots from the same rumble to win the redemption round. And next up, we have the quarterfinals, where Schweinehund now takes on Chophouse 1v1. gonna hurt for Chophouse. Dominated the fight, only for Schweinehund to get a late Uta and become the first semi-finalist of this week. And in our other quarter-final, the last of the Cruiserweight Samurai Elite, Redline fights Apogee. Same story as the last fight. Apogee dominates, but one out wedged by Redline, and it takes off that base plate to make Apogee the first victim of the rule change where damage that will cause your internals to fall out IRL will get you counted out, rather than the internals having to be floating like last time. So we move on to the semi-final for this week. Schweinehund v Redline, meeting 1v1 after both losing the same rumble.
Lovely.
And the pig dog gets put down as Redline is the first robot to reach an SSB final without having previously been a champion. And now it fights Wrong Note in that final. Is Wrong Note gonna follow up in Keith's footsteps as double trophy winners? Or is Redline gonna claim its first? The longest winning streak in Sakura Sunrise to not start with a robot's debut fight has ended. Redline hitting the right note to get Wrong Note Uta and become Cruiserweight Samurai Elite Champion. Next week, we're on to the last of the 3 Samurai Elite events, the heavyweights. Join me next week for